Today we're going to be talking about the tip link offensive pattern. This is the core of our offensive shape and something we're going to go back to time and time again throughout the season. Three things that we like about tip link. One, it can build space from nothing, even from flat-footed ball. Two, it's got a built-in quick ruck to get quick, clean ball out to our backline to attack with. And then three, it offers lots of room for progression to engage other players than just our pod and our fly half. Here's our initial setup. This is going to be fairly standard for us, starting with the ball here at the base of a ruck. We've got a three-man pod. This is our A at the tip, our tip line runner here, and the most important player in the pod, our clean man, C here. The goal is to attack the space where the second defender is likely to be, with the A runner running slightly inward, the tip runner running on an inside line just off his right shoulder, such that this defender is forced to make a decision between tackling A or covering the tip line. C, our clean man, plays a crucial role where we're going to be the first to the ruck. We're going to have a very fast ball out to our 10, and we can attack with our backline. One thing I want to note here is you're not running at the second defender. We want you running about where our defensive system would have the second defender. If they're disjointed and this opens up, all of this is off. Our A-man can take the gap, even if it requires a slight outside angle. If there's space, we want you to attack that space. This is not a kind of robotic system. We want you to adapt to the defenders that are in front of you. What this is typically going to look like is our A, our T, and our clean man gaining ground here and setting a quick ruck. The goal of this is a timing play. In the time it takes the defense to fold around the corner here and reset their defensive line, we want our 9 to pull this ball as soon as possible and pass to a 10 who is running onto the ball. That should put a lot of pressure on these two defenders who have to retreat and get on sides, and that's the whole advantage. If this ruck is slow because our clean man didn't do his job, if our 9 has a hard time getting around here fast enough, if our 10 catches this ball flat-footed, all of this advantage fizzles out and the defensive line gets to reset. So this really is a timing play, and we really want to work on gaining ground here and having our 9 and our 10 in sync so that we've got forward progress and speed on the ball. Let's talk about the two ways to engage the back line out the back of a pod. We've got two calls this year. The first is our back call. This is straight back, a vertical pass back from A to 10. When and why we might call this, this is in response to the defensive centers. Oftentimes what we'll see is our centers on defense playing a drift where they come up 2 hard steps and then play outside. In that case, our 10, our 12, a switch line back in from 13, inside ball is typically going to be more successful into a soft shoulder. However, if the defense chooses to play a very hard blitz from their centers all the way up to the depth of the ball, we'd like to call back. Back is a pressure release pass from A back to 10, and it offers the chance to draw and pass 10 to 12, 12 to 13, and put 13 around the corner. Or something that we want to have our 10s pay attention to is if these centers are blitzing, we're looking at kicks through the line, kicks over the line, such that our 12, our 13, and our 14 hear that back call and know, hey, our ears are pinned back. It's time to go get the ball and put immense pressure on a kick chase in the defensive midfield. Our link call is a little bit different. This is often done in broken play or a phase after a hit up. So let's say we use our 12 and our 13 on the prior phase. They're down on the ground and out of the play here. And there's a gap here where defenders should be, but were used in the prior phase. In this case, our A might be running into the only set defense line, and our 10 or our 15 can identify this space out wide. What we'd like to do in this scenario is go from 9 to A, and then have our 10 running on this 45-degree line, such that the ball comes back out 9 to A, A to 10, and we've got 10, 15, and a wing attacking out in the wide third of the defensive field. Again, this is going to be done typically after a center field hit where our centers are involved in a ruck, or as we come around the corner, we might be under-resourced. It might just be that we've got 2 forwards in the pod. It might be, like I said, that our 10 is gone. We're going to ask our 15 to take this role on as well, where our link is, again, 9 to 10, 9 to A, and could be A to 15, trying to get the ball out as fast as possible into the wide channel. Let's talk about some progressions here. So what we might see throughout the course of a game is this man start to call for help, either from his inside channel here, from the 1, or from his outside channel here from the 13, in response to us putting 2 defenders, or 2 ball carriers, through his space. What we'll often see is this guy start to drift and help out inside. And in that case, what we want to encourage our 9 to do is run a bubble line. So that's going to be picking from the base and running on this angle, such that we now have 3 players running at the 12. This offers a lot of options. It can be a 9 potentially through. It can be the A through a gap. It can be the A to a tip line through the gap. But we want to read this man. If he starts to drift inside, let's force him to stay honest. If he stays home, we put immense pressure on this man. The second progression we talked about before, but we want to encourage our 15 to step into that 10 role to keep the tempo of our attack up. So again, imagine we had a center field hit up. We've got our 10, 12, and 13 all out of the play. If we've got time and space to get around the corner, because several of these defenders were spent making tackles in the midfield, we would very much like for our 15 to step up into this hole, such that we can go 9 to A to 15, and then we'll have our 15 carry, our 14 support, and our pod follow their pass to attack the wide channel. Again, this is something we want to have you guys keep an eye out for. When the 15 sees the centers go into a ruck, or the 10 on the floor, it's your time to shine. Step into the line, call for that link out, even if we've got short numbers in our pod. So to quickly recap here, at the top of the screen, you see our A pattern and our B pattern. These are both the same. We run our A at the space where the second defender should be with 2 runners. Our clean offers a strong ruck, and we get a quick ball out to our back line. The B variation of this is typically going to be used when, hey, our centers were used in a midfield hit up, but we've got a pod. We'll go 9 to 10, 10 to B, and B is going to run that same line from our A, but about where the third defender is. Same concept. Down below, 2 backline engagements. We've got our back on the bottom left, which is in response to the defensive centers blitzing, where we want to go 9 to A straight back to 10, such that we can either draw and pass around the corner for our 13 around the blitz, or have a pre-called kick so that 12, 13, and 14 all know they can burst onto this ball and put a kick over the top or a grubber through the line and put immense pressure on the defensive backfield. Last, we've got our link. This is 9 to A and A at a 45-degree angle out to a playmaker. The most common time we want to call this is when our offensive midfield is on the floor. Maybe we just use them in a center field hit up, and space is opening up out wide that a playmaker can step into and identify. In this case, we want 2 crisp passes, and we want our playmaker and our wing to link up and attack that space that's opened up out wide. So that's tip link. This is going to be our core pattern on offense all season. There's additional wrinkles that we can put in here to engage more folks, but we want everyone comfortable with these rules such that our forwards are all interchangeable and our backline all feel comfortable stepping into this playmaker role when the field opens up and allows for it. That's it for today. Looking forward to seeing you guys out at training.